I've studied every mechanic of SCP-06 and I assure you that if you stick around, you'll find out something new. So let's start with the basics. SCP-06 is a tall, white humanoid that announces his presence with his loud crying and screams across the hallways. He has two states. One is docile, the other is enraged, for which he has different abilities and stats. He starts the game docile. He can press right click on any flat surface to quieten his cries and to regen his hume shield twice as fast. Once looked at, you can hold R for a short period of time to start enraging, and after 6 seconds, you are enraged for a temporary amount of time depending on how many people look at you. You can see this timer at the bottom of your screen. If you thought that was simple, well, the enrage part gets a little bit more complicated. While enraged, you can attack by pressing left click and dash forwards by pressing right click. You can break doors with left click and force open gates with right click or by simply pressing E. Additionally, you can only see your targets. You cannot see your SCPs or any humans that didn't look at you. After the timer is done, or you hold R again while enraged, you'll start calming down and become docile once again. Now that we're done with the basics, the in-depth part may leave you surprised. 096's left click deals 60 damage only to targets, so you cannot damage non-targets with left click. 60 damage makes it so you always two-shot kill enemies unless they had used an adrenaline or a blue candy, for which you need to hit them a third time. 096's right click deals 90 damage to targets and 35 to non-targets, and it applies the concuss status effect to any person hit regardless of their status to 096. Only difference is that non-targets have the effect for a shorter period of time. Concuss makes it so the screen gets blurry whenever they turn the screen. And if you thought those were interesting, here's some strategies you may never have thought about. Try to never be alone, as that's when you're the most vulnerable to dying. If you're raging, try to always stop raging next to a teammate and next to a door for the most safety. If you're alone, get as far as you can while closing doors behind you and stop raging at either a checkpoint or an elevator if possible, as they're the safest bet in case of a micro HID user. Else, just stop raging next to a door as far away as possible. To avoid not two-shot killing the enemies, you can left click then right click instead of pressing left click twice. The best use of this is to gain distance on another target or to run away while killing your target. When you get looked at, don't walk towards enemies with guns in case they'll shoot you, as you're very vulnerable while starting your rage. Instead, you should hide behind a door when starting your rage, and then start running at them when you're about to finish animation. While in rage, don't just run towards the MTF in a straight line, as it will be an easy target. Try to jump around and run zigzag next to the walls and so on. Additionally, if they're at the end of the hallway, you can run out of the corner and instantly right click to surprise them. While in rage, especially on surface, try to jump and right click to get over gaps and hit your enemies. I recommend taking smaller gaps at first until you're comfortable with the gaps you can take. You can also just do this to get to the enemies in a more confusing way. It doesn't help much, but it sure could confuse some people. While the enrage strategies may have been quite obvious, these next few are rarely known by a player. While docile, try to abuse any chances you have to make them look at you. For example, if they're looking towards a location with a lower floor, try to go down the floor as fast as possible to make them look at you. You can also try to sit in a corner next to the machine in 914, while they upgrade, as it could potentially make them look at you if they're not careful enough. Generally use elevated places to your advantage by sitting at the lower floors. While docile, always use right click in the back of the elevator while it's traveling so they can't hear you. When you hear the elevator door opening, do a 180 as fast as possible to surprise anyone who may be waiting at the other side of the door. If you learned something new, make sure to like, subscribe and share the video with your friends. Thank you so much for watching until the end. See you next time.